Hi guys, this is my project. One file, an API contract, nothing else. So for example, here's a real life everyday scenario. So the backend team is constantly developing the actual APIs, but as a front-end developer, I can't wait for them to be ready. So instead, I can develop in parallel thanks to this contract agreed upon by both parties using mocks. So for this development, I'll use Addy Osmani's agent skills and I'll try to follow this rule. So I won't write a single line of code by hand. Okay, this is our contract. List incidents. So we get incident, get a single incident by ID, and resolve by ID. So a post. 3 operations. Pretty simple. And for a bigger project, of course, you would grill the requirements too. So, but for today, this contract is the PRD. Okay, spec. So we open Claude. It's my AI agent, but you can use every AI agent with agent skills. Okay, I have already installed agent skills, as you can see, and marketplace and the plugins. Okay, so spec. This is the command. Okay, incident desk, a dashboard for the API contract in OpenAPI. Simple. We decide the stack. React 19, TypeScript, bit. Okay, I decide to use Orval. Orval is a generator. It's pretty cool because generates type-safe clients from any valid OpenAPI. So supported clients, we have a Tanstack query, React query. It's the whole name. So why not? It's cool. It generates also the mocks with MSW. Okay, the backend does not exist yet. We develop fully against mocks and switch to the real API later by changing one environment value with no source edit. Okay. So this is phase 1, define. I don't start with code, I start with a spec. Okay, this is our spec. Cool. So instead of jumping straight into code, the agent read the OpenAPI contract and wrote a spec first. And look at it what's surfaced. Not just what it's building, but the decision it made and why. It shows, for example, use query over suspense, specifically because suspense would have merged the loading and error states I asked it to keep separated. It excludes the severity filter from the stats computation, so the chart doesn't collapse to the 1 bar. And the part I like most, it told me what it doesn't know. Read one thing I can verify from here, because I don't have asterisks. So my design system package isn't installed, so rather than hallucinating components names, it made the first task, so go read the real package. Let's stop 1 minute at point 11. So the spec says this package is unverified. I cannot know its real exports from here. So task 1 is not code, task 1 is discovery. Go read the real package. And no component name can be invented. If something is missing, it becomes a finding. This is what the skill adds. It turns I don't know into a task, not into an invention. Now approve and breaks this into an ordered task list. Okay, so here's the plan. Now we build. So this is our prompt. Notice what I did not do here. I didn't describe the architecture again. That's already in the spec and the plan. I just told it to read them. What I added is the stuff only I know. 3 libraries where I don't want it working from memory, and one specific trap I've hit before. So node pinned, npm pinned. Okay, checkpoint B. Test green, type check and build clean, one commit per task. Findings worth your attention, asterisk tokens only compile via the stylex subpath. Okay. Okay, this is the bug with hand. Okay, T5 done. So the app rendering on a real browser, I tried, Clouding Chrome is turned off in your setting, everything is HTTP level. Okay, turn the exception on, I'll do the visual pass. Not worth. Also worth knowing for the UI task, asterisk real prop name differ from what I've guessed, but type check does catch invalid props. Okay, next is T6. Okay, so I think I cleared the context. So I recall the build skill and build from T6. So maybe we can check npm run dev. Cool, simple. We have this warning message. Okay, let's fix in a fork. Parallel change landed on disk while I was working. Yes, it's this. Okay. We don't have the warning. Build T7. Watch the changes. So for T7, the agent write the test first, of course. The fighting test for the whole section. So we have show the least skeleton while the first load is in flight, replaces the skeleton with row once the load settles, render incidents newest first, shows AD, title, service, severity, status, and last update on a row, etc, etc. It's very, very cool. Okay, so now we can inspect our code. We have this API, mocket, of course. We have 8 items, with each have an ID, so it's pretty cool. Okay, so we have our error, and we have our loading. Tanstack DevTools, it's pretty useful because we can trigger loading, trigger error, invalidate the query. It's useful. So let's build T8. Okay, so we have filters. So it's useful because I can click critical, for example, and I can look here, severity critical. So we have the query details here. And I have a URL too, so I can open another tab and I can filter by URL. Cool. Let's build T9. Okay, now we have a severity breakdown. Okay, my fault. We don't have haslint, so maybe we can add. We can add also right here. Human review done. Go to T10. Okay, now we have T10, but I don't like it. So we miss back button and the updates. And I don't like the updates. So before commit, I want a back button in incident detail, and I don't like the UI for the updates. Checking asterisks a better component. Okay, now it's better. We have back to incidents and better UI for the update timeline. And we have the error page, incident not found. Cool. Go to T11. Okay, now we have T11. So the list response already carries each incident's full timeline. So the detail view seeds itself from whatever the list query left in the Tanstack cache. It opens instantly with no skeleton and still revalidates in the background. It's pretty cool. Of course, if I refresh, we have no cache. Okay, go to T12. Okay, we have T12 and we have this form for resolve the incident only in status open and investigating, sorry, because already resolved it. So open here, for example, I write resolve. Okay, see? Cool. Okay, we almost finished. And now we get into T13. Quick word on what actually under the hood, because it's the part I like most. So now we have only one single source of truth, is this OpenAPI contract. Everything else is derived from it. Orvar reads the contract and generates the whole API layer, the TypeScript types, the Tanstack query hooks, and the ZOD schemas. Nothing under SRC API generated is handwritten, and nothing there is ever hand-edited. You change the contract, you regenerate, and the types tell you what broke. It's really useful for a refactoring, for example. So the app is finished. It's a simple app, sure, but I have to say it came out really well. And using the spec, plan, and build commands is generally a game changer. You go from a vague idea to a spec, from the spec to a task list, and then you just build it task by task, verifying each one before moving on. So we can fire review command and see what it digs up. Okay, you have to fire review, but review all commits. Okay, and the verdict is request changes, but zero critical, which is good, but look at where the findings are. All four of the important ones are in the same file, http.ts, the fetch mutator. And that's the one module in the whole project with no direct test file. None of these breaks the demo. It's all unreachable in mock mode, but it's the genuine bug on day one of the real API. Okay, here. API fetch assumes every response body is a JSON. Describes error-friendly fallback is reachable. Engine message reach users. Runtime contract validation exists only on the mock path. http.ts has no test file. So maybe we can write fix findings 1, 2, and 4 from the review. And here is the repo. Findings fixed, everything pushed. all 4 bugs in the same module, the only module without tests, so it's pretty cool. The mocks were hiding them, the real API on day 1 would not. 1 review run for production bugs stopped at the gate. So this is why the pipeline ends with a review, not with hope. And still, one honest thing, after the agent's review, the next step is a human review, of course. That is not a weakness of the process, but that is the process. But now it's weekend, and this is the demo. So the human review is you. So the repo is public, find what the agent missed, open an issue. And one more thing. Somewhere in this video I called Addy. Sorry, Addy, blame my Italian. So 1 file in, 1 app out. Repo link in the description. Thanks for watching. Ciao.